Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told how to voice radio. So today, we're going to be showing you Darkrai Prism Star. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Prism Star cards are continuing to be revealed. Darkrai Prism Star is the latest one to be revealed. And we saw an image of it earlier on, and it looked like this, which was no help whatsoever. Even the best eyesight in the world will not allow you to read this card. Good news is we now have a clearer image, and we know exactly what it does. So Darkrai Prism Star is, and you could probably figure this out by now, a darkness type Pokemon. It has 160 HP, which puts it right in line with Solgaleo Prism Star and Lunala Prism Star. It has a weakness to fighting, which we would expect, but that can actually be a bit of a pain at the moment, because you see, well, Zoroark's weak to fighting, which means people are going to be trying to counter that. Not to mention that if Gardevoir still continues to see play, and I'm not sure it will, as I've said in a bunch of recent videos, Gallade will be played. Not to mention, of course, we've got Buzzwole that's pretty good, and let's not forget Silvally, who has that fighting memory, shall we say, fighting weakness at the moment. Not the best weakness that we can actually have. Retreat cost of 2 is the worst one in the game, but a resistance to Psychic is both expected and pretty cool, because it means that you've got a resistance to Garbodor, which is not too bad at all. Don't forget that being a darkness type Pokemon does mean that you get access to Ravaged Plains if you want your attacks to do an extra 10 damage, or Reverse Valley if you want your attacks to do an extra 10 damage. And it's Darkrai, and we've got Darkrai at the moment. We've got the Darkrai from Breakpoint, which does a whole bunch of damage if you've got a whole bunch of energy attached. We've got Darkrai GX with its Restoration ability, which means that if it's in the discard, you can pop it on the bench and attach a Darkness energy from your discard to it. Now, Darkrai has really fallen out of favour as a deck, partly because there's a lot of fighting types around at the moment to counter it, partly because it's a little bit too slow. Having said that, if you're that worried about all of these fighting types, you could play some Yveltal as well, so that you were countering them, because of course you would then have resistance. But anyway, this Darkrai is a Prism Star. Remember the Prism Star rules. You can only have one Darkrai Prism Star in your deck. You can have other Prism Stars, but only one Darkrai. And once it is discarded, it goes into the Lost Zone. There will be no rescue stretchering of Darkrai Prism Star. You can have one in your deck, and when it gets discarded, knocked out, whatever, it goes into the Lost Zone. Don't play a Professor Sycamore, ladies and gentlemen. Not with this in your hand, you won't be getting it back. Although you can search it out with a Bridget, which is kind of fun. Now, this was revealed by the lovely folks over at Pokebeach.com, and the ability is the same as Giratina's, but for darkness energy. When you put this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may attach 2 darkness energy from your hand to this Pokemon. So I'll pop a link to the Giratina video in the description. Go check that one out. I talked about this quite a bit, but the first thing to mention here, this is Pachirisu from Call of Legends. Not only that, but remember that Pachirisu from Call of Legends had Shaymin from Unleashed. Shaymin was a ridiculous Pokemon that had an ability that allowed you to move your energy around the field. We don't have anything like that at the moment. We've got Energy Switch, but then Energy Switch becomes kind of clunky. Honestly, for a Pokemon like this, one thing I really like the idea of is Ninja Boy. Play down Darkrai with 2 Darkness Energy attached, and then you can play a Ninja Boy into Darkrai GX, or you can play a Ninja Boy into the Darkrai from Breakpoint. Darkrai from Breakpoint attacks for 2 Darkness Energy, so you pop this one down, Ninja Boy into a Darkrai from Breakpoint, then you can be attacking straight away. And Darkrai from Breakpoint really needs to be mentioned here with this particular Pokemon, because, well, 20 damage plus 20 more for each darkness energy attached to all of your Pokemon. This not only puts an extra 2 energy onto the field, but this does an extra 40 damage. Getting this energy on the field is crucial in Darkrai decks, and Darkrai Prism Star helps you out with that brilliantly. And it's not like this necessarily has to be a one-time thing, because we've got Super Scoop Up in the format, and Super Scoop Up will allow you to just pick it up and pop it back down again. We have, if you're in the expanded format, we've got AZ, which will just allow you to pick it up and then you can put it back down again. Do remember though, AZ forces you to discard the energy attached to it. So if you're going to do this, you've got to have got the energy off of Darkrai. Otherwise, when you pick it up with AZ, you will just discard the energy. So moving the energy off is an issue, because it's all well and good just picking Darkrai up and putting it back down again, but you have got to redo it. That's a bit of a pain. That's why I like Ninja Boy so much here. Not only does Ninja Boy give you a nice new attacker, but when you play Ninja Boy, you put Darkrai Prism Star back into your deck, which means you can draw into it later on in the game, which means that you can then get more energy on the field. And if you're playing something like a Zoroark GX, you can use your trade ability here to draw cards during your turn. That will make you less reliant on playing supporter cards like Professor Sycamore to draw extra cards, which means you'll be able to play stuff like Ninja Boy more often. And I did mention Bridget earlier. You can use Bridget to search for a Darkrai, but do remember that Bridget just puts the Pokemon onto your bench. It does not actually allow you to have the ability as well. Just like I said with Giratina, this ability is awesome. It was awesome on Pachirisu. It's awesome on Darkrai. The thing is, Giratina was really a good candidate for this ability, because you've got the Lunala GX from Sun and Moon that then allows you to move that psychic energy around the field as you please. Darkness doesn't have anything like that. It's still a great ability. It still is brilliant for boosting the damage of Breakpoint Darkrai. It's still great for using Ninja Boy into a different Darkrai. But it's not quite as good, because you don't always want the energy on there. Giratina, you can just pop it down, move it off, Super Scoop Up, pop it down, move it off, and just keep doing that for the game. Really build up a nice store of energy on the field. Darkrai, this is still a great ability, but it's not quite as good. The attack for a Darkness, it's expensive, but having said that, Giratina Prism Star, 4 Psychic Energy. Solgaleo Prism Star, 4 Metal Energy. Lunala Prism Star, 4 Psychic Energy. You could have seen this coming. All of these Pokemon have 4 Colored Energy as the attack cost. 120 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. But your opponent flips 2 coins between turns instead of 1. If either of them are tails, that Pokemon is still asleep. This is nice. Generally with sleep, you cannot attack, you cannot retreat. Flip a coin between turns. If head, you wake up. You have a 50% chance of waking up from sleep. But if you've got to flip 2 coins and get a double heads, now you've got a 25% chance of waking up. That is far less likely to happen. And the 120 damage here is really nice. It's a good number to hit. It's an automatic KO on something like Garbodor. It doesn't KO something like a Volcanion or a Registeel. You'll be 10 damage short. But of course, I've already told you about Ravaged Plains and Reverse Valley, both of which will add 10 damage, and then you will be getting a one-hit KO. But unless you're against something like a Metagross GX, 240 will be enough to get a KO on pretty much anything. So the plan here is very simple. You hit for 120, you don't get a KO. But you leave them asleep and there's only a 25% chance they're going to wake up. And then if they don't wake up, you hit them for another 120 and get a KO. Now there's ways they can get around this. They could use an Ace Roller to heal themselves. They could use a Guzma as a bit of a switch. They could even just use a switch. Although no one's really playing that at the moment. They can't use a Floatstone. Floatstone gives free retreat, but they're unable to retreat. But the thing is here, if they don't have an Ace Roller and they don't have a Guzma, you are getting a KO here with a single prize Pokemon on hopefully an EX or a GX taking 2 prizes. This attack will allow you to push the prize race into your favour, and that makes it really quite nice indeed. If your opponent's got something like an ace roller, well, that's just bad news bears, but hopefully they don't. It is an expensive attack, and this is basically where we fall with Darkrai Prism Star. The ability's amazing, but we don't have a good way to move the energy off, so you've really got to have something like a Ninja Boy to make the most of it, although there are other uses. The attack here is great, but it's expensive, and if your opponent's got a Guzma or an Ace Roller, it basically does nothing. I wouldn't say that Darkrai Prism Star is almost good. I would say that Darkrai Prism Star is very good, but only under some circumstances. If you can Ninja Boy into another Pokemon, yes. If you're playing the Breakpoint Darkrai and you need to get extra energy on the field to boost your damage, yes. If your opponent cannot get out of sleep so that you can get a KO on a GX with a non-GX, good. But it's not always going to be like that, and when it's not, I'm not sure it's a great card. I am giving it between 3 and 4 Wassies. Both the ability and the attack have potential, but they're not definitely amazing. Between 3 and 4 Wassies seems about right, but of course we don't give half Wassies because that would be barbaric. But as always with cards like this, I need to know your opinion. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Me nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter @TheWassie, and for some live action you can go and check out twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc., you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.